23-24 academic year, 1,261,962 students were enrolled in 2,254 local and regional schools in the Commonwealth, including 56 career and technical schools and 290 alternative and special education centers across 126 school divisions. Besides the general public schools in Virginia, there are governor's schools and selective magnet schools. The governor's schools are a collection of 52 regional high schools and summer programs intended for gifted students, and include the Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology, the top-rated high school in the country in 2022. The Virginia Council for Private Education oversees the regulation of 483 state-accredited private schools. An additional 53,680 students receive homeschooling. In 2022, 92.1% of high school students graduated on time after 4 years, and 89.3% of adults over the age 25 had their high school diploma. Virginia has one of the smaller racial gaps in graduation rates among U.S. states, with 90.3% of black students graduating on time, compared to 94.9% of white students and 98.3% of Asian students. Hispanic students had the highest dropout rate, at 13.95%, with high rates being correlated with students listed as English learners. Despite ending school segregation in the 1960s, 7% of Virginia's public schools were rated as intensely segregated by the Civil Rights Project at UCLA in 2019, and the number has risen since 1989, when only 3% were. Virginia has comparatively large public school districts, typically comprising entire counties or cities, and this helps mitigate funding gaps seen in other states such that non-white districts average slightly more funding, $255 per student as of 2019, than majority white districts. Elementary schools, with Virginia's smallest districts, were found to be more segregated than state middle or high schools by a 2019 VCU study. Colleges and universities. See also, List of colleges and universities in Virginia. As of 2020, Virginia has the 6th highest percent of residents with bachelor's degrees or higher, with 39.5%. The Department of Education recognizes 163 colleges and universities in Virginia. In the 2022 U.S. News and World Report ranking of national public universities, the University of Virginia is ranked 3rd, the College of William and Mary is 13th, Virginia Tech is 23rd, George Mason University is 65th, James Madison University is 72nd, and Virginia Commonwealth University is 83rd. There are 119 private institutions in the state, including Washington and Lee University and the University of Richmond, which are ranked as the country's 11th and 18th best liberal arts colleges respectively. Virginia Tech and Virginia State University are the state's land-grant universities, and Virginia State is one of its 5 historically black colleges and universities. The Virginia Military Institute is the oldest state military college. Virginia also operates 23 community colleges on 40 campuses which enrolled 199,926 degree-seeking students during the 2021-2022 school year. In 2021, the state made community college free for most low- and middle-income students. George Mason University had the largest on-campus enrollment at 40,390 students as of 2023, though the private Liberty University had the largest total enrollment in the state, with 115,000 online and 15,800 on-campus students in Lynchburg as of 2022. Health. Virginia was ranked best for its physical environment in the 2023 United Health Foundation's health rankings, but 19th for its overall health outcomes and only 26th for residents' healthy behaviors. Among U.S. states, Virginia has the 22nd lowest rate of premature deaths, with 8,709 per 100,000, and an infant mortality rate of 5.61 per 1,000 live births. The rate of uninsured Virginians dropped to 6.5% in 2023, following an expansion of Medicare in 2019. Falls Church and Loudoun County were both ranked in the top 10 healthiest communities in 2020 by U.S. News and World Report. With high rates of heart disease and diabetes, African Americans in Virginia have an average life expectancy 4 years less than whites and 12 less than Asian Americans and Latinos, and were disproportionately affected by the coronavirus pandemic. African American mothers are also 3 times more likely to die while giving birth. Mortality rates among white middle-class Virginians have also been rising, with drug overdose, alcohol poisoning, and suicide as leading causes. Suicides in the state increased over 14% between 2009 and 2023, while deaths from drug overdoses more than doubled. Virginia has a ratio of 221.5 primary care physicians per 10,000 residents, the 15th worst rate nationally, and only 250.3 mental health providers per that number, the 14th worst nationwide. A December 2023 report by the General Assembly found that all 9 public mental health care facilities were over 95% full, causing overcrowding and delays in admissions. Weight is an issue for many Virginians. 32.2% of adults and 14.9% of 10 to 17-year-olds are obese as of 2021. 35% of adults are overweight, and 23.3% do not exercise regularly. Smoking in bars and restaurants was banned in January 2010, and the percent of tobacco smokers in the state has declined from 19% in that year to 12.1% in 2023, but an additional 7.7% use e-cigarettes. The percentage of adults who receive annual immunizations is above average, as 47.8% get their yearly flu vaccination. In 2008, Virginia became the first U.S. state to mandate the HPV vaccine for girls for school attendance, and 62.7% of adolescents have the vaccine as of 2023. The Virginia Board of Health regulates healthcare facilities. There are 88 hospitals in Virginia with a combined 17,024 hospital beds as of 2023. The largest in both Virginia and the Washington metropolitan area is Inova Fairfax Hospital, which serves over 55,000 patients annually. VCU Medical Center, where a new 16-story children's hospital was opened in 2023, is highly ranked for pediatrics, while UVA Medical Center is highly ranked for its cancer care, and the state numbers in the top 10 for annual cancer screenings. Centara Norfolk General Hospital, a teaching institution of Eastern Virginia Medical School, was the site of the first successful U.S. in vitro fertilization program, and around 2.5% of births in the state are due to IVF. Media. See also, List of newspapers in Virginia, List of radio stations in Virginia, and List of television stations in Virginia. The Hampton Roads area is the 44th largest media market in the United States as ranked by Nielsen Media Research, while the Richmond-Petersburg area is 56th and Roanoke-Lynchburg is 71st as of 2022. Northern Virginia is part of the much larger Washington, D.C. media market, which is the country's 9th largest. There are 36 television stations in Virginia, representing each major U.S. network, part of 42 stations which serve Virginia viewers including those broadcasting from neighboring jurisdictions. There are 595 FCC-licensed FM radio stations broadcast in Virginia and 239 stations as of 2020. The nationally available Public Broadcasting Service, PBS, is headquartered in Arlington. Independent PBS affiliates exist throughout Virginia, and the Arlington PBS member station Veta TV produces programs such as the PBS NewsHour and Washington Week. The most circulated native newspapers in the Commonwealth are Norfolk's The Virginian Pilot with around 132,000 subscribers, the Richmond Times-Dispatch with 86,219, and the Roanoke Times as of 2018. USA Today, which is headquartered in McLean, has seen its daily subscription number decline significantly from over 500,000 in 2019 to just over 180,000 in 2021, but is still the third most circulated paper nationwide. USA Today is the flagship publication of Gannett, Inc., which merged with Gatehouse Media in 2019, and operates over 100 local newspapers nationwide. In Northern Virginia, the Washington Post is the dominant newspaper and provides local coverage for the region. Politico and Axios, which both cover national politics, have their headquarters in Arlington. Transportation. Main article, Transportation in Virginia. Because of the 1932 Byrd Road Act, the state government controls most of Virginia's roads, instead of a local county authority as is usual in other states. As of 2018, the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, owns and operates 57,867 miles, 93,128 kilometers, of the total 70,105 miles, 112,823 kilometers, of roads in the state, making it the third largest state highway system. Traffic on Virginia's roads is among the worst in the nation according to the 2019 American Community Survey. The average commute time of 28.7 minutes is the 8th longest among U.S. states, and the Washington metropolitan area, which includes Northern Virginia, has the second worst rate of traffic congestion among U.S. cities. About 67.9% of workers in Virginia reported driving alone to work in 2021, the 14th lowest percent in the U.S., while 8.5% reported carpooling, and Virginia hit peak car usage before the year 2000, making it one of the first such states. Mass transit and ports. About 3.4% of Virginians commute on public transit, and there were over 171.9 million public transit trips in Virginia in 2019, over 62% of which were done on the Washington Metro Transit System, which serves Arlington and Alexandria, and extends into Loudoun and Fairfax counties. Commuter buses include the Fairfax Connector, Fred buses in Fredericksburg, and Omniride in Prince William County, while the state-run Virginia Breeze buses run 4 intercity routes from Washington, D.C. to Bristol, Blacksburg, Martinsville, and Danville. VDOT operates several free ferries throughout Virginia, the most notable being the Jamestown Ferry, which connects Jamestown to Scotland Wharf across the James River. Virginia has Amtrak passenger rail service along several corridors, and Virginia Railway Express, VRE, maintains 2 commuter lines into Washington, D.C. from Fredericksburg and Manassas. VRE experienced a dramatic decline in ridership due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with daily ridership dropping from over 18,000 in 2019 to 6,864 in February 2024. Amtrak routes in Virginia have however passed their pre-pandemic levels and served 123,658 passengers in March 2024. Norfolk operates a light rail system called the Tide, servicing about 2,300 people per day. Major freight railroads in Virginia include Norfolk Southern and CSX Transportation, and in 2021 the state finalized a deal to purchase 223 miles, 359 kilometers, of track and over 350 miles, 560 kilometers, of right-of-way from CSX for future passenger rail service. Virginia has 5 major airports: Dulles International and Reagan-Washington National in Northern Virginia, both of which handle over 20 million passengers a year, Richmond International southeast of the state capital, Newport News/Williamsburg International Airport, and Norfolk International. Several other airports offer limited commercial passenger service, and 66 public airports serve the state's aviation needs. The Virginia Port Authority's main seaports are those in Hampton Roads, which carried 61,505,700 short tons, 55,797,000 t, of total cargo in 2021, the 6th most of United States ports. The eastern shore of Virginia is the site of Wallops Flight Facility, a rocket launch center owned by NASA, and the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, a commercial spaceport. Space tourism is also offered through Vienna-based Space Adventures. Sports. See also, sports teams in Virginia. Virginia is the most populous U.S. state without a major professional sports league franchise. The reasons for this include the lack of any dominant city or market within the state and the proximity of teams in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Charlotte, and Raleigh, as well as a reluctance to publicly finance stadiums. A proposed $220 million NBA arena in Virginia Beach lost the support of the city council there in 2017. While a 2023 proposal to move the NBA's Washington Wizards and the NHL's Washington Capitals to Alexandria was cancelled after opposition in the Virginia Senate. 5 minor league baseball and 2 mid-level hockey teams play in Virginia. Norfolk is host to 2, the AAA Norfolk Tides and the ECHL's Norfolk Admirals. The AA Richmond Flying Squirrels began playing at the Diamond in 2010, while the Fredericksburg Nationals, Lynchburg Hillcats, and Salem Red Sox play in the Low A East League. Loudoun United FC, the reserve team of DC United, debuted in the USL Championship in 2019. While the Richmond Kickers of the USL League One have operated since 1993 and are the only team in their league to win both the league championship and the US Open Cup in the same year. The training facilities for both the Washington Commanders and Washington Spirit are in Loudoun County, while the Washington Capitals practice at MedStar Capitals Iceplex in Ballston. Hampton Roads has produced several Olympic gold medalists, including Gabby Douglas, the first African-American to win gymnastics individual all-around gold, and LaShawn Merritt, Francesca McCory, and Michael Cherry, who have all won gold in the 400 meters relay. Noah Lyles, reigning world's fastest man and winner of the 100-meter dash at the 2024 Olympics, grew up in Alexandria. Major long-distance races in the state include the Richmond Marathon, the Blue Ridge Marathon on the Parkway, and the Monument Avenue 10K. Virginia's professional caliber golf courses include Kings Mill Resort outside Williamsburg, which hosts an LPGA Tour tournament in May, and the Country Club of Virginia outside Richmond, which hosts a charity classic on the PGA Tour Champions in October. Notable PGA Tour winners from Virginia include Sam Snead and Curtis Strange. NASCAR currently schedules Cup Series races on 2 tracks in Virginia, Martinsville Speedway and Richmond Raceway. Notable drivers from Virginia in the series have included Jeff Burton, Ward Burton, Denny Hamlin, Wendell Scott and Curtis Turner. College sports. Several of Virginia's collegiate sports programs have attracted strong followings, with a 2015 poll showing that 34% of Virginians were fans of the Virginia Cavaliers and 28% were fans of the rival Virginia Tech Hokies, making both more popular than the surveyed regional professional teams. The men's and women's college basketball programs of the Cavaliers, VCU Rams, and Old Dominion Monarchs have combined for 66 regular season conference championships and 49 conference tournament championships between them as of 2023. The Hokies football team sustained a 27-year bowl streak between 1993 and 2019. James Madison Dukes football won FCS NCAA championships in both 2004 and 2016. The overall UVA men's athletics programs won the National Capital One Cup in both 2015 and 2019, and led the Atlantic Coast Conference in NCAA championships. 14 universities in total compete in NCAA Division I, with multiple programs each in the Atlantic Coast Conference, Atlantic 10 Conference, Big South Conference, and Coastal Athletic Association. 3 historically black schools compete in the Division II Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, and 2 others, Hampton and Norfolk State, compete in Division I. Several smaller schools compete in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the USA South Athletic Conference of NCAA Division III. The NCAA currently holds its Division III championships in football, men's basketball, volleyball, and softball in Salem. State-appropriated funds are not allowed to be used for either operational or capital expenses for intercollegiate athletics. High school sports. Virginia is also home to several of the nation's top high school basketball programs, including Paul VI Catholic High School and Oak Hill Academy, the latter of which has won 9 national championships. In the 2022-2023 school year, 176,623 high school students participated in 14 girls' sports and 13 boys' sports managed by the Virginia High School League, with the most popular sports being football, outdoor track and cross-country, soccer, basketball, baseball and softball, and volleyball. Outside of the high school system, 145 youth soccer clubs operate in the Virginia Youth Soccer Association, under the USYS system, as of 2024. State symbols. Main article, List of Virginia state symbols. Virginia has several nicknames, the oldest of which is the Old Dominion. King Charles II of England first referred to our antient colony of Virginia, one of our own dominions, in 1662 or 1663, perhaps choosing this language because Virginia was home to many of his supporters during the English Civil War. These supporters were called Cavaliers, and the nickname the Cavalier State was popularized after the American Civil War. Virginia has also been called the Mother of Presidents, as 8 Virginians have served as President of the United States, including 4 of the first 5. The state's motto, Sic Semper Tyrannis, translates from Latin as thus always to tyrants, and is used on the state seal, which is then used on the flag. While the seal was designed in 1776, and the flag was first used in the 1830s, both were made official in 1930. In 1940, Carry Me Back to Old Virginia was named the state song, but it was retired in 1997 due to its nostalgic references to slavery. In March 2015, Virginia's government named Our Great Virginia, which uses the tune of Oceanando, as the traditional state song and Sweet Virginia Breeze as the popular state song. 1 Beverages, milk, rye whiskey. 2 Boat, Chesapeake Bay Dead Rees. 3 Bird, Cardinal. 4 Dance, Square Dancing. 5 Dog, American Foxhound. 6 Fish, Brook Trout, Striped Bass. 7 Flower /tree, Dogwood. 8 Fossil, Chesapeake jeffersonius. 9 Insect, Tiger Swallowtail. 10 Mammal, Virginia Big-Eared Bat. 11 Motto, Sic Semper Tyrannis. 12 Nickname, the Old Dominion. 13 Pony, Chincoteague Pony. 14 Shell, Eastern Oyster. 15 Slogan, Virginia is for lovers. 16 Songs, Our Great Virginia, Sweet Virginia Breeze. 17 Tartan, Virginia Quadricentennial. See also. Portals. 1 Virginia. 2 United.
Good. So that was a lot of stuff at the open again. That's probably a very nice state. It's more south than New York City. So it's 2 p.m. I have opened a lot of stuff, but next I read history of Virginia. Then I open a lot again. Would take like 1 or 2 weeks to read. So now the sun's shining again. But maybe you still have snow. But then you need to go more north to North Carolina. But then we have alligators, but maybe not so many like Florida and South Carolina. Maybe when you get to North Carolina, you are away from the winter and snow. That could be very nice, because if I have to live in a boat, if I have to live on a river or lake, in a boat or in a trailer park, it's nice. It's not a lot of snow and freezing cold. Because to living in a boat in New York, the Great Lakes in winter, you cannot really do that, because that's very cold. So I will stop the video and charging. I did not have the heating on last 2 days, but now I have free heating. This heating will, but if you only have like $2,000, I think you are poor. Everywhere in the United States, just $2,000. You could have $1,000 for housing and $1,000 for food and pocket money. So where can you live in the United States? Only like $2,000. But maybe you can live in a boat, a few $100 months. Living in a sailboat, cheap sailboat, or powerboat, cheap powerboat. But powerboats cost a lot more money, because powerboats have a big engine. So sometimes you can get a small sailboat, like 18, 22 feet. A small sailboat, few $1,000s. And then you can use this outboard engine This engine you can pull from 4 horsepower, 4 to 6 horsepower. So you could just buy a brand new engine like $2,000. You just buy a new engine, $2,000, or second-hand engine. But I think maybe you cannot living there. Virginia Beach, if you can living there, $2,000 months.